What's up, everyone? Nello Angelo here. So today on this episode, I know I'm mostly a gaming channel and I do tech stuff here and there. So I said, screw it, let's go ahead and build a new gaming computer today. So the case we're going to be using, I have it right here, but we'll show that in a little bit when we get to it. But I'm assuming it's pronounced Musatex, or somebody probably might pronounce it as Moosetex, but it's got tempered glass all on one side and then cable management. They have the fans up here, so I'm going to unmount them and put them down here because on the pictorial when I bought this, it had them displayed down here because I want to use up here as my exhaust for my processor fan. And for the motherboard that I chosen that we're going to do for this product is the Gigabyte B760 Gaming Max, which is made for the 12th and 13th gen Intel processors. I got a 13th gen. It's a i7 13700KF, I believe. I'll show that shortly. And it also supports DDR5 memory. Here is our solid state drive and an M2 PCIe NVMe 4 terabyte. Its biggest selling point is because it can do, they say it can do, where is it? Alrighty. Anyways, I think it said could do up to like 7 gigabytes transfer rate, and their big selling point is that you should be able to play video games, content create, and some other stuff in the background all at the same time without any kind of lagging or delay. We are going to go with 64 gigabytes of 5600 megahertz Corsair Vengeance DDR5 memory. I know 64 gigabytes for gaming is probably a little bit overkill, but I'd say screw it, might as well be ahead of the game for a little bit. Like I said, I highly doubt this will ever be a mainstream thing anytime soon, but this would also be good like if you want to do other background stuff too while you're doing your gaming. And then went with an i7 13700K. I could have gone with an i9, but I think an i9 might be overkill as well, especially since the read speeds and all that are pretty much about the same. The only difference is that this has 16 cores versus had the i9 having 26, 28, I believe. So this is probably definitely good in just the right sweet spot, or if not, this could probably be also considered overkill for strictly just PC gaming as well. For our graphics card, this is probably definitely overkill, but I'm pretty sure if I super sample it, since I have an 8K TV, we might be able to do some 8K gaming. But we're going to be installing the MSI GeForce RTX 4090, which is a 24 gigabyte graphics card. So like I said, probably overkill for 4K 120 hertz gaming, but I'm the kind of the go big or go home type, so I know sometimes some stuff I might over exaggerate, but it is what it is. So without further ado, and I went ahead with a 1000-watt power supply. This should be more than enough to cover everything. I know that specific graphics card recommended a 1000-watt power supply, so this might just be just right, or I probably should have gone 100 or 200 watts more, but I think this should be perfectly fine. I mean, it should be perform a lot better than with my current computer, because I believe the power supply for my 2080 Ti when I had that custom built is underpowered, so that's the reason why the computer would crash from time to time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some building. So since we're not in ideal conditions since we're around carpet, granted I'm wearing shoes, but I've also saw a lot of stuff saying that it takes a lot of static electricity to kill your computer hardware, but we want to be on the safe side, so got myself this nice little magnetic organizing board to put some of our screws and stuff in so we don't lose them, because I have the knack of dropping or misplacing stuff from time to time. And it's also got a little dry erase marker to mark what is what. And it looks like it has a little sticky backing, but we're not going to take that off. Or no, it's not a sticky backing, it's just a protective cover for the was it felt or whatever that's anti-slip. Alright, so we'll leave that right there. Throw this in our tower box. Take out the pen, even though I'm probably not going to need it to mark anything, but you never know. Already losing stuff. Alright. And then, like I said, since we're working in semi-ideal conditions, we got an anti-static mat with a grounding strap. Alright. Alright. Decent size, I guess, or probably more than enough for what I need it for. Alright. So now this, I'm pretty sure for those who already know how to use it, but for those who don't know, we're going to take out our power supply, plug it in, and connect this to the chassis of the power supply. That way we're grounded and no static electricity can harm any of our electronic components while we're doing this build. Actually, no, this part is probably not. This is probably not necessary. Yeah, probably just this is the only thing that we need for this little project, so we'll just throw this off to the side. Oh, and last thing I forgot to mention, I think this might be a little overkill just for strictly a gaming setup, but we're going to do a all-in-one water cooler, so maybe I might look into doing some processor overclocking, but we'll see how it initially goes first, just having it use its base performance. Alright. Let's go ahead and take this guy out, plug it all in, and connect our grounding strap so that we are properly grounded for this project. Stuff can just sit in the box and shelf right now. Port. Come on. There we go. And my two daughters were supposed to watch Daddy build this computer, so now all of a sudden they changed their mind, which means Daddy could have built this a long time ago and been using it, but no. Daddy wanted to be a good daddy and teach them something, but of course, they basically just said, screw Daddy. We're going to do our own thing now. Damn kids. Well, kids. Can't live without them, can't live with them, can't shoot them. Now, I'm not sure if this has to actually be powered on, but I think technically it should already just be grounded, just being plugged in. But I guess we'll find out if something pops, right? Alright, so clip that to the chassis. And then one suggestion said to actually put this around your ankle so you're not dragging wires and stuff around. Even though this looks like it's made more for your hand. Nope, see? Perfectly fine. Smart ass. You don't think I hear your little comments behind the camera? Alright, so now we are quote unquote grounded.
Looking stupid.
Okay. Alright, now time to take out our motherboard here. Ooh, pretty. Alright. Alright, so this is the motherboard right here. So we got all the IOs on this side, a heatsink for the solid state drive that we're going to install, and there's actually two other spots for solid state drives, but I'm guessing these are for non-high-end ones because there's no heatsink for any of those. We got our PCIe Express 4.0 for the graphics card, and then two other PCIe Express for whatever. I mean, they're not going to be used. This is where our processor is going to go. And then here's our memory slots for the RAM. And if I remember correctly, let me borrow that. Looking at right here, it actually tells you which channel you're supposed to use first. So if you're going to use dual channel, you want to put it in A2 and B2, which would be A2, B2. So for those who don't know, but I'm pretty sure for those who are already experienced, they can ignore that. Alright, so now, and then we got our SATA ports. If we were to put any regular hard drives, but we're gonna use just a solid state one, so, or an internal solid state one, so we don't have to worry about any of those. We got our CPU fan ports right there, plugins, and we got our, let me see, there should be two for the fan case. I think it's these two right here. I have to look at the manual. And then there's two right here for the fan. Oh no, wait, here we go. So these two for two fans, and then two fans right here. So the setup I have has 5 fans. So I'm not sure if it comes with a splitter. So I bought a splitter just to be on the safe side, so all 5 fans can have power, not including the CPU as well. So let's go ahead and start with our RAM first. Start with the easy part. Easy part. I mean, nothing fancy, but these actually look kind of nice. I mean, they're not fancy with the RGB lighting or anything like that. I mean, to me, I think that's showing off a little too much. I mean, even though I do have the tempered glass thing that can show those, but I'm pretty sure the fans are already lit anyway, so that's more than enough lighting, unique lighting for this type of gaming setup. Now if I can get this open without flinging the packaging open and having everything going all over the place. There we go. Come on. Oh, this way. That's weird. Alright, so let me see. Okay, so that's the, I'm guessing that's the little notch that they're talking about. So, yep. So, little notch or a little gap right there, a little gap right there. So they're going to go like this. Pull these out. Slide these in. There we go. That's one. And next one. Oh, shit. The little casing opens up. That's interesting. That's interesting. Whatever. All right. So, flip this around. There we go. There we go. Snap, snap. Snap, snap. All right, so now we have it set up for dual channel setup, which we'll have to do in the BIOS when we get to that point. All right, so next we'll go ahead and install our hard drive before we mess with the CPU. And let me go ahead and grab our little magnetic toolkit that I purposely bought just so I don't lose stuff, because I've used regular screwdrivers before and
lose everything.
Just my luck, yes. I sometimes drop screws and I gotta go fishing for them. It's worse when the motherboard's already in the case and you drop the screw and you have to try and fish it between the little stuff on the motherboard, or if it goes behind it, you gotta try and take it out, or be ghetto like me and just shake the case. Even though at that point you're probably risking damaging anything, but I haven't had nothing break on me before. Knock on wood. Oh, nice little casing for this little guy. Alright, so with the 4 terabyte hard drive, I think I'll probably use 3 gigs of it for installing strictly games on it, and then the other terabyte, what did I say, gigs? 3 terabytes for installing games on it, and then the other terabyte will be what I'll put my content on, and before I transfer them over to the external drive. Probably won't do any 4K content because that takes a lot of data, so I'll just stick to doing what I'm already doing, which is 2K. Oh, just a little card. Alright, so this is my first time actually installing one of these myself, so this will be kind of cool. Oh wait, does it come with its own oh, it looks like it comes with its own thermal pasting or whatever. Ah, whatever.
What's thermal pasting?
So that's what helps transfer the heat from this, or like the processor, to the fan or the cooling assembly, because without it there's going to be no heat transfer, so everything's just going to get hot and it's going to overheat and burn up, because it needs something to it needs like some kind of, the paste acts as, I forgot what the word is, but it causes the heat to transfer from one to the other instead of it just being metal to metal.
Thank you.
All right, so oops, it's a flip, right? No, it's a clip. Yeah. All right. So little Phillips. Let's try this guy really quick. Yep, that'll work. And is this a regular screwdriver? I mean, not a screwdriver, but is it a ratchet type? No, I don't think it is. But then again, it only cost me, I think, like $20 for this kit, so you get what you pay for, but it's magnetized, so that's all that really matters. Or supposed to be magnetized.
I don't think so.
I think they lied to me.
Oh.
Hold on, let me see. Or hold on. Oh, you know what? It's held into place, so that's why. So, I can still say they probably lied to me, but all right. So it's gonna go on that way. So let me see. Is this? Let me see what the instructions are. I'm guessing that is thermal backing. When installing, no, don't need that. Insert the Cybernet Rocket NV drive. Oh, well, showing that on there, so I guess it... Okay, maybe it's not. Which is weird, because it looks like it is. Let me see. Let me just double check one more time to make sure it doesn't say anything about removing that, but it doesn't say. To a PCI Gen 4 motherboard, a heatsink is required to dissipate the heat generated by the drive's extreme speed levels to avoid thermal throttling and to maximize performance. Many Gen 4 motherboards are sold with a built-in heatsink, so you're good to go without an aftermarket heatsink. Just follow the manufacturer user on blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm guessing we don't have to take it off because it doesn't say anything about pulling off that looks like some kind of backing, so I'm going to trust what this manufacturer is saying. Good thing I got the warranty stuff from Newegg, just in case. Alright, so now for these, they say you're supposed to pop them in at an angle. And then, oh, okay, so didn't take that much force. Alright, so yeah, just put it in there, like, lay it on there like that. Oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. And then, oh, okay, that's neat. Okay, well, then again, like I said, this is my first time installing one of these things, so. And now, there's the backing on this that needs to come off, and that'll go over that guy. Okay, it was easy. There we go. Just had to move that out of the way, I guess. Okay. Alright, so just, there we go. So, kind of put a little pressure to spread out the adhesive. Alright, now, next thing, Z processor. Oh, sounds like my cousin's screwing up on some of his songs. Alright, so, this goes under here, if I remember correctly. Yep. Just like that. And then this pops up. And then this backing should pop off when we put our processor in. Alright, so now, time for our processor. You enjoying this so far? Minus your smart-ass comments? Mm-hmm. Alright.
They're not all smart ass.
Unlock the speed.
Yours just funny.
Alright. Alright. And they also give, like always, they give you a little sticker, which I never put them on my builds anyways, except for unless they already come like that, like they did with my Cyber one. So, installation process. I think that's what we want to put when we put the fan stuff in. Yeah, because this goes down like that, and then this. Just want to make sure we're not messing anything up, but I don't think we are. I'm just looking at this. All right. Lift that up. Yep. That, so yeah, pull that up first. That, we already did that. 4, put in the processor. So the notch side should be here. And the triangle's on according to the directions here with that lifted open is on this side. Okay. Yep. Looks like it's in there. Give it a little wiggle. All right. So now yeah, because the directions is saying that triangle should be right there in that corner. Which I still don't see it. But, oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. It's right here. It's on the actual boards. I thought there was like a notch or something. But like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. The last time I'd done one of these was 2009, 2010. All right, now this should pop off now once we... Matter of fact, that should pop off once we put the processor on. Let me see. Yeah, bring it down, and that should pop off, just like that. And now that, there we go. Now our processor is secured, and then once we get to the AIO part, it should already have the thermal paste pre-installed, but if not, I bought some, so we'll do that once we install this in the case, and same thing with the graphics card.
Ooh.
So now, like I said, I'm not going to throw everything away right away. We're going to save things just for a little bit. I'll keep it in storage until everything is considered good. Alright, so now we already did stuff we can do right now on the outside. So now we got to go ahead and put this in the case, but before we do that, I got to move some of these fans around like I said I would. So the case I can do on the floor, that's fine. And it looks like there was probably, at the moment, no need for this, but we'll keep it just in case. Alright. So now, let's get this guy. Alright. Okay, so for this, what is this? Oh, this is the filter screen. Okay, so this is what we're going to take. Oh, it's magnetized. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Ooh.
Alright, so this is the filter screen for the top. So we're going to unmount these fans, and we're going to put them on the bottom, because up here is where this guy is going to go. So let's go ahead and... Actually, they're saying that do it on its side because the glass is fragile, even though they says it's supposed to be tempered glass. Alright. And it looks like they well, I wouldn't say kinda, but I think they just tied them up. I was gonna say it looks like they did kind of somewhat partial cable management for us already.
Ooh.
Feels like I'm messing with the fish tank. Scoot over, please. Alright, so we are Actually, I guess I'll have to take this back plating off really quick so I can, because it looks like all these are connected to each other on the back too. And it sounds like there's other screws and stuff, unless that's just the cables for all the fans, which that's what it sounds like. Is there anything in the front? No. Okay, so it should just slide out all as one. Alright, so now we're taking off the back panel really quick. How much time is on there so far?
36 minutes.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought it was taking a lot longer. And let me see, the kind that just slides out. Or pop out. Let's see. Oops.
Don't break it.
Trying not to. I think it slides. We should just. There we go. Okay. So. Ooh, they actually did kind of do a little bit of a cable management. Let's see. This must be for like if you want to put in like an external hard drive or something, because this is like a little port to put in some hard drives. The power supply is going to get mounted right there. Let me see. What do we got in y'all? Oh, this is where the instruction stuff are. Ow, my knee popped.
Old man.
And this looks like... Well, we'll hold on to those, because I'm pretty sure we're going to need them. Alright, so let's go ahead and tip this guy forward for right now. And try and take a look at how they did all these, even though I could just these are the wires for the front IOs. Alright. Gonna have to ruin some of this hard-earned work. Alright. Save these. Save these for cable management later on. Alright. Okay. These. So these are probably for these two, but it's probably leading up to the top fans too. All these are going to have to get undone anyway, so when we start plugging things into the motherboard. Then zip tied down there, or not zip tied, but just tied. That's zip tied, so I'm gonna have to break that. So that's all for down there, so I'm not too worried about that. That's the same thing. These are fans, so these gotta get unplugged. Let me see, so these are, okay, so I might actually might not even need that splitter that I bought, so I could probably return that. That's nice that they did that. Okay. So 1 fan, 2 fan, 3 fan. What's this? Oh, that's for that fan. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug you. These are the kind. Oh wait, they're the kind that click, huh? I think. Or don't want to get mad and start Incredible Hulking these things. These are the kind that you squeeze, right? Oh, thought I saw something moving. only thing when you don't keep up with stuff like you should, but I think you just squeeze. Yeah, there you go. You just squeeze.
Squeeze.
Squeeze. That's for bitch. Alright, that's 2. Well, more than just 2, but let's see. Okay. So now fans are somewhat separated. Okay, these are for the, oh yeah, so they are jumped and split, which is nice. Alright, so that's for these 2, these 3. Alright, now we can start taking these out. Probably the same size. So they are magnetized. Cool. That's 1. That one didn't magnetize. Right. That's 3 for 3. So now we're going to take those. I guess I have to mount them from this side. Alright, so now, for those who don't know, but for those who are experienced, they can ignore this, but for those who don't know, the part that has nothing, this is what's actually going to pull the air through. So the part with the little cage, that's where the air is going to go through. So no cage, air goes through. So if you're trying to figure out if this is going to be an intake or an outtake, that's the best way to tell. Or like what I saw from this one YouTube video called YouTube channel called Jay's 2 Cents, use the expression "faces suck." It sounds stupid, but you know. So this should be the face with the brand, and then this would be the back that has all the information about the fan. So since these are going to be intakes, because these were set as exhausts, these are going to be intakes, so they're going to be mounted, excuse me, like that. What's up, fellow PC gamers and computer builders? So welcome back to part 2. So had a little bit of a work stoppage last night, which kind of sucked. So even though this case advertised that you can put 3 120 millimeter fans on the bottom, they had them mounted up here on the top. So I had to take those down and put them down here so I can make room for my water cooler's radiator. But unfortunately, the pre-drilled holes were smaller, so I had to widen them just so these can fit. So I already got one in place now, just to show you how it's supposed to look, how it was advertised in the picturing when I got it. So now I just got the other two, so we'll go ahead and come right back. Okay, so here is the somewhat finished product so far for the intake for the bottom. So it turns out for those, when I was looking at them, that they actually had them mounted backwards. They were actually set for outtake, which when it was advertised, it would be 3 intakes at the bottom, 2 intakes right there, 1 outtake, and then whatever additional fans you add, or the radiator, which in this case, so I had to unmount those 2 and turn them around. So now we have 5 intake fans, 1 exhaust, and then soon be 3 once we put the radiator in when we get to that part towards the end. Okay, now that we got all our fans properly positioned where we want them to, we are going to start with the radiator fans and assembly next before we put in our motherboard, to make things a little bit easier instead of trying to put it in after the motherboard's been put in. So I will be right back. Don't mind the conversation in the background. Got my kids with me here today, so it is what it is. So we shall return. Alright everybody, so we got the radiator fans and the radiator assembly installed. And then we got the pump resting right there. Hopefully it doesn't fall, knock on wood. Alright, next thing, we're going to pop in the motherboard, and then after the motherboard, do a little cable management. Well, actually we still got to install our power supply, do some cable management, and then install our graphics card, and then fire it up and hope for the best that this thing starts. So we'll be right back. Okay, now we got our motherboard in place. Now it's time to apply the thermal pasting to our processor and mount the radiator pump. And then after that, it's time for some cable management, and then we'll install our graphics card afterwards and do the final steps. Alrighty, so far looking good. Got all our fans, the radiator installed, motherboard in place. We got our pump mounted. Next is the graphics card, and then after the graphics card, well actually before the graphics card, let's do a little cable management really quick, and then we'll install the graphics card, since that's going to be a big beefy thing that's going to take a majority of the space. So we'll do that as the last thing, and then power this up and pray for the best. Okay, so not the best in cable management for the most part. Well, I mean, that's a lot better than how I used to have my cases back in the day. But back in the day, I didn't really give a damn about cable management. I just have everything just strewn all over the place or bunched up. So this is good enough for what I can work with. And now let's go ahead and slap in the power supply, plug in our ATX power ports, and I believe that should be it, since everything is pretty much internal. We're not dealing with any hard drives or anything like that. Then we'll install our graphics card. Hopefully this thing will fire up, and then go from there. Alright, so last but not least, we finally got our big ass graphics card installed. Had to do a little troubleshooting because apparently there was one plug on the power supply that I missed, so my computer wouldn't start. So after doing some troubleshooting steps, so I was checking to see if I had the jumpers for the power switch on in reverse, which I don't think that really mattered. And also tried jumping it with a screwdriver because I wasn't sure if I had a case with a defective power button. That led me to believe that I must have missed something on the power supply install. So took care of that. So now everything's up and running. Yeah, I know 2 out of the 5 fans that came with the case aren't lit up. That's because there's only 2 spots on the motherboard for RGB lighting, and I happen to use the second RGB lighting for the water cooling pump, which, I mean, I could have made, if I knew it was just like that, I could have just made din without that and just did the other 2 fans, but that's alright. I'm not going to be that very particular. I'm just glad that this damn thing is running. So this is pretty much how it looks, all put together. I mean, I know the cable management is okay-ish. I mean, it's not like how I used to have them before, where I would just have the cables all over the place because I didn't really give a damn about cable management, but it's still good enough for adequate airflow in and out of the case. And we are currently updating some stuff on the computer, and then later on we will do some bench tests and stuff like that.
Alright, so we're back. We're going to start doing our bench tests now. So we're going to start with Gears 5. I think Gears 5 is probably the most hardware intensive game I've played so far. I mean, there's other more modern games, but I don't think they're as hardware intensive that I can think of. Like, I know I've played the Dead Space remake and I played the RE4 remake, and I don't think graphic wise, I don't think none of them compare to like how hardware demanding as Gears 5 is, especially since Gears 5 is over 100 gigabytes of data. Now granted, just because it's over 100 gigabytes doesn't necessarily mean it could be hardware demanding, but it's got a lot of, for a game that has 100 gigs, it's it's because they put a lot, there's a lot of graphics involved too, because it's only like what, like an 8-hour or less game probably overall. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to our settings. So first we're going to do a 4K test, since I built this PC for 4K purposes. So let me just make sure I'm not shooting myself in the foot. Okay, so we do have our recording going. So we got 4K set. Minimum frame rate is set to 90, because if we don't adjust that, it'll actually go to a lower setting, which is stupid. Max at 120, since that's what our gaming monitor is only capable of, or TV in this case, because I have an LG CX, which is one of the only very few officially named, like, that's meant for gaming. Like, it even has the NVIDIA G-Sync logo on its packaging because it utilizes the NVIDIA G-Sync as well as FreeSync. So yeah, so we have HDR on, Ultra textures installed, everything set to Ultra and Insane and Best for certain bloom style. I don't know what the difference between standard and anamorphic is, so I just left it at standard. Motion blur is off because who really uses that? GPU, I don't know why it always changes to auto, but I guess in a way it doesn't really matter. So yes, keep our settings. Go back to video and start our benchmark. Alright, so here we are running at 4K. Getting well over 100 hertz. Excuse me, 100 FPS. Hertz, almost the same thing. Just what I still don't get is, even when I had my, I think it was a 1060 graphics card laptop, when I was using Gears, when I was bench using Gears 4, it didn't even max out the VRAM usage, but it said it was GPU down 100%, but even then it was still struggling to get 60 to 80 FPS. I'm not sure if it's because of the processor that was installed on the laptop that was bottlenecking it, or it was I don't know. Like I said, I don't get why the VRAM usage is so low, but it's saying that it's 100% GPU. So that's why I guess those who are more of the really tech savvy types, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section to help, educate me for like purposes like this. Alright, so that is our 4K test. Now, just for fun, I highly doubt I will ever play in 8K, especially since I don't have an actual 8K TV, so I probably might not even see a difference by super sampling, but let's go ahead and super sample this to 8K just for fun and see what kind of results we get. Alright, so that is the 8K resolution right there for computers. Now, let me adjust this really quick so it looks proper on your end instead of how it was when I first made this recording. So this is my third attempt at doing a proper recording, knock on wood. Alright, now that's adjusted. We will go ahead and start our bench test. All right, now here we go. 8K bench testing. So here we are. Average frame rates is about 80, current fluctuating, but pretty good for 8K. VRAM usage is at 10.5 gigs. GPU balance, obviously, of course, 100%. Now, like I said, I can't really tell the difference. I mean, maybe, you know, some things might be a little bit finer, more detailed, but then again, who knows? Probably might not really be able to tell the difference unless I'm using an actual 8K TV, even though they say that super sampling is supposed to be almost the same thing as having said get type monitor TV, whatever. But I'd say this is running pretty smooth. I'd say, but then again, I think this game is probably optimized well. Because when I did a test earlier for 4 at 8K, it was lagging. Not lagging, but the frame rates were a lot lower, which didn't make sense. For a game that was slightly attached different. Alright, so that is our 8K results. Pretty freaking good if you ask me. Alright, so before we do anything else, let's go ahead and adjust this back to 4K. Yes. Alright, and we will be back for the next test. Alright, so our next test is going to be Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Not obviously as graphic intensive as Gears 5, but, you know, it can be pretty intensive in some circumstances, especially it being an open world type concept game. So we got 4K settings, everything maxed out. And then as always, motion blur is always turned off because to me motion blur is pointless, and a lot of other people think that motion blur is actually pointless too. So here we go with this test, and also everything is running in HDR as well. I'm not sure if HDR actually does affect frame rates or performance, but obviously you need a HDMI 2.1 port to actually have 4K 120 hertz in HDR, which this graphics card, the RTX 4090 has. My RTX 2080 Ti, my other computer, only had HDMI 2.0, so I was only able to run 4K at 120 hertz. But if I wanted to use HDR at 4K, I would only be limited to 60 hertz. And without further ado, let's start. Alright, so here we are pushing in the 160s to 180s.
¡Hey! ¡Cuidado, niños!
Nice and smooth, no screen tearing, but that's also due to the G-Sync. And for those who don't know, I mean, I'm pretty sure the majority should know by now, but for those who don't know, screen tearing occurs because your computer, graphics card, or just your computer, your PC system in general is putting out way more frames than what your monitor or TV can handle. That's what causes the screen tearing. So in order to mitigate that is you have to either have like something like G-Sync or FreeSync enabled if your TV or monitor supports those features, or if by chance if you're playing a game that is too hardware demanding, you can't even meet the frame rates that, and your frame rates can't even supersede your TV or monitor. That's the only other way you can avoid screen tearing. And VSync, by my understanding, can technically prevent screen tearing, but I've actually tried VSync in the past on some games, and you would still get screen tearing. And plus, they'll say VSync is bad too because it also creates extra input lag as well. Alright, so getting close to the 300s in this area, you would think it'd be a lot less because it's how open and detailed, but then again, I guess since everything's kind of distance, it's not as detailed like if you're up close, like when we get into the town area, which is very shortly. or the village, whatever you want to call it. Starting to get a little toasty in here because of this computer. That's the only bad thing about computers, especially high-end computers. And it also doesn't help that I have an OLED TV, which that can get pretty hot too and start heating up the room. So it's nice to have when it's cold, but in the summertime it sucks. That's when the AC gets put on. Alright, so that concludes our benchmark for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Here's the results off to the side. Take a little bit if you guys want to glance at those, but I'm pretty sure no one really cares. So let's go ahead and get on to the next video. The next bench test. Alright, now for our next test, here we are with some Rise of the Tomb Raider. So again, 4K, everything's going to be maxed out graphic wise, motion blur off, film grain off, because I think film grain is stupid. If you like the classic look, I'm guessing that's what its purpose is for, but I really don't care for that. So let's go ahead and start our bench test, or benchmark, whatever they want to call it. So for this one doesn't show you the FPS on the top corner like it did for Shadow, but it'll tell you all the results towards the end. But obviously you can tell that everything is nice and buttery smooth because there's no lagging whatsoever. No lagging, no stutters, whatnot. Look at that nice little rump in 4K. Now granted, obviously you're not gonna see it in 4K because I have this downsized to 1080p, and for the most part, most people who watch YouTube or Twitch, they're probably watching from their cell phones anyway, so it wouldn't really make a big difference whether they're watching 1080p or 4K anyways. Alright, now we should be getting our results pretty soon. Yep. So Mountain Peak, 280 FPS, minimum was 168, max was 371. Syria, 223, minimum 82, max 280. Geothermal Valley, 216, min 167, max 266. Overall score, 240 FPS. Alright, now let's go to our last bench test. It's a little bit older, but it's still a pretty hardware demanding game, which is going to be Gears 4. And I'm pretty sure there's some other games I have that probably have little bench tests too, but they're not as hardware demanding. I know for a small game, the medium can be pretty hardware demanding, because I think even with the 2080 Ti at 4K, I think I got, not as much, but I think I got like stutters here and there, but of course that doesn't have a benchmark setting, a feature, so we will go ahead and just go on to Gears 4. Alright, meow, time for some Gears 4. Sorry if it might look funky, but Gears 4, actually Rise of the Tomb Raider for the PC, I don't know why, and for Gears 4 on the PC doesn't have an HDR feature, but I just left HDR on just because I didn't feel like switching back and forth. But obviously when I play these games, I'm going to have the HDR feature turned off for those particular games, but for everything else that supports HDR, obviously HDR is going to be on. So let's go ahead and go to our options. So we're running at 4K again. VSync is off because there's no need for it because we're using G-Sync. Everything set to ultra and insane, except for motion blur because motion blur is stupid in my opinion. So let's go ahead with our benchmark. Alright, so getting over 100 frames on average. GPU DRAM usage is not that high. GPU bound is 100%. But then again, I think the reason why the frames are dropping a little bit too is because I'm running like games back to back without giving the computer a chance to recover. But it is what it is. I mean, nothing, not a lot of stutters or anything like that, so it's very playable, nice and smooth. Okay, so these are our results. Now I'm pretty sure the frames would be a lot higher, probably if I had reset the computer and started fresh, but this is what occasionally happens when you jump from one thing to another without letting the computer catch a little break to recover or to free up some space. But if I'm explaining this wrong, please let me know in the comments below, but if I am, I would like to assume that I'm saying the right things. So this will conclude this video, so I hope you enjoyed me from start to finish, story from start to finish, me building the computer, the little frustrations that came with it, and doing the bench test of my brand new gaming computer. If you'd like to see more content like this, please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section, and if you're watching this on Twitch, I would greatly appreciate a follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate a subscribe so you're keeping up to date with other videos that I put out. And if you like the video, please like it. And if you like it, dislike it. And then, you know, if you happen to be local and you're looking into building a new computer, hey, I'll build it for you if you want to pay me labor. Or if you want to trust me with, you know, some moolah, your credit card, you tell me what you want, and you tell me what your budget is, and then I'll do my research. I'll bring it to your attention before we buy everything, make sure you're okay with it, and have a little fun building a new computer. So until then, I will see you all in the next episode. Take care.